get started already. All right.
So am I going in? Or staring here?
So remember yesterday when we did the left, when I did the left turn on the haunches. It's the front left part of your seat. Yeah, so he really swung into you, didn't he? And so pretty early on before the cone, you need to check in and make sure that you can have him, that was better, have him almost in shoulder 4, meaning the shoulders are slightly to the inside of the haunches. There you go. And you can press down into the left side of his back. Yes, good, good, good. And you were correct to ask for more activity, but that was a lot more of a thoughtful attempt from him. So, he knows the turns on the haunches now, and right now I have a nice highlighter orange cone right where they're gonna be. So he's gonna try to do it for you. So already now, can you bend the front ribs? Can you compress the front ribs without losing his right hip? Lost the right hip on the very end of it, yes. Your right half halt is going to control his right hip. I liked that one a lot. Give him a pet on his neck. Good boy. Your right half halt is going to control his right hip. Your left, I'm going to call it your weight aids, because it's the placement of your seat in the front of the saddle. It's where your thigh is. Good. That's what's going to control that, like, whipping around with his left shoulder. So let me give you another piece of this. Because you have to troubleshoot a little bit, because each time you do it is a little bit different, right? See how the very last step of those 2 quarter turns, he's dove in with his left shoulder? Halt. Remember my analogy of the box that he has to have, that was pretty good. He has to live within the parameters. You have to have a left side, you have to have a right side, you have a front wall, you have a back wall, and you have a top and a bottom. Now, if he rams into the left wall, good. It has to be like him running into a wall. The wall's not going anywhere. And then he's going to choose to not run into it. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Let's add in canter. So I'm not going to have you canter at every one. On the other side of a turn that functions really well, that's when I want you to choose to canter, okay? And you're going to try to stay on the outside of the box. So the turn itself will collect the walk in order for you to canter. He has to be on the aids enough for it to happen. Good for you. Good, good. Okay, good job. And then do again. So that one definitely required a second big kick, right? Yeah. So maybe wait until after this turn. Wait, he's got to let you prepare him. He's got to let you. Now remember, if he dives in the last step, halt. If he doesn't, you can canter. Super good. And then just canter past. Don't walk yet, okay? You're gonna walk after this next cone, and you're gonna set up for your next turn on the haunches. And walk. Now, good transition, and immediately set up. Good job. Control his right hip and his left shoulder. Good, and canter. Stay right there. Stay good boy. And just keep cantering. And after this one, walk and walk. Good. So just keep riding. That one was a bit of a delayed attempt, but it was delayed for the right reasons, right? And you did a really good job of just staying put. Good. Good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't do anything. That's right. That's fine. And then just canter on. After this one, if you can walk, do. Good, and walk. Good. Good. You've given him an impossible problem. SB says, there's no flipping way I can canter in this position. And you're just going to say, figure it out, princess. Love you. Good decision, Darlene. And it's hard to make that decision because 50% of your brain is banking on being able to canter, right? because that's hard enough. But it's super important that you just keep picking at the details. He's got to let you drive. That was excellent. So good, boy. Now, just stay cantering for a moment. Stay cantering and really think about his left hind and his right front being on the track. Left hind, right front being on the track. There you go. You got to think down to his feet. Now, this is going to require you putting his nose back in the center of his chest with your right rein, which I know is the cherry on top of the entire impossible situation. Very good. After this turn, you're going to walk. We're going to do one last quarter turn, and we're going to give him a break. Good boy. Hold it. He says, are you sure I'm allowed to walk? Okay, one last quarter turn if you have to halt or whatever, but we're not going to canter. Oh, okay, long rein, big pat. Okay, you can pause it. He just ends up hitting the bit. He's not really being naughty or rude. He just has to figure out that he has to pick up the underneath of his body in order to not end up in his own face, so to speak. Good, yeah, good. So as many halts as you need to do where you set very clear parameters for him. You are the cookie mold. He is the cookie dough. And right now your cookie dough is just fresh out of the freezer and it's a little hard. Good for you. I liked how he halted with his left hind there, even though he stepped a little wide behind. He's thinking. Good. Oh, good boy. Okay. All right, let's just find your trot. And I do want to cruise through some test movements today and tomorrow. Good. So even as you're trotting, let's do the same thing that we just did at the walk. Let's do some trot halts. And I want you to focus on a couple things. Prompt transitions. Good. Now, on the upward, can you get his withers to go to the left? He's going, but Mambo's out there. You can wait. Take your time. Oh, Jesus. Tornado. Good. Yeah, so get past your corner. Now, into your halt, think the tiniest bit renvers positioning. Remember what that is? Lucky's at the gate. Yes, so it's like shoulder in left angle with right bend in his body. Good, trot on. You're gonna go past the gate, and before the corner, you're gonna do little baby renvers into halt again. Baby renvers into your halt. Yeah, and that kind of hit the nail on the head, didn't it, right? Yes, he says, I don't want to do that with my body. Good, so just trot on. And when you go about renvers, with him specifically, it's very important, let's actually do this for a moment, that you go angle first, bend second. So let's do renvers. So you're going to go shoulder in left angle. Nope, that's haunches in. So go shoulder in left. Now, think about how you would accomplish right bend with his body like this. Yes, 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 yes. That just have to keep being not movable, so to speak. Good job. Okay, we're gonna go shoulder and right down the next long side, and this is gonna be hard because you don't have a physical wall on your outside. Good, shoulder and right. Now, yeah, sink down into your left seat. Feel his left hind. Good, and maybe just hang out here for a moment. On the next long side, I want you to do shoulder and right again, but we're gonna increase flexion. Remember, flexion isn't really bend. It's not bend. Flexion just has to do with his pole. Okay, so you're gonna take advantage of having the wall at his butt. Use it. Let him push his wall into the butt, or let him push his butt into the wall, rather. Good. Now slip your left rein a little bit and just get his head to look right. And he's gonna tell you that's all kinds of impossible. Good. Just keep turning the key with the right rein. Pick the lock. Yes. Good for you. Good. It seems like not a big deal going after flexion, but it's a really big deal. I want you to do that again when you're isolating the rest of his body, when you're telling him, I want just this one little piece, Bubba, and not the rest. Good. Give him on the left rein. Give him lots of space. There. Let him experiment. It takes loads of elasticity, core strength, and flexibility to get this horse to actually look right in the shoulder and to not swing his butt left. And I know you believe me because you're having to contain a lot of wiggles. Good, do it one more time. Because it looks like he's just kind of starting to believe that he can. So it's tempting to really contain him on the left rein. But you can't because you'll restrict the right flexion. This is good. And he just has to believe that he can. It's probably quite uncomfortable. Super. Okay. Let's go haunches in on the next long side. Remember how we've been schooling this, that we start off really straight. Chest, that's super, and sit down. Kind of push the back of his body down to lift those ears up. A little bit like how we start the extended trot. There it is, Darlene. Good job. Yeah, good. And then whenever you come out of it, don't let him drop the bit. Very good. Okay. Reiterate, what we want to check on today is getting him collected and in front of your leg and have the engagement that you had the day we did the square. Because when we adjusted his positioning yesterday, we kind of worked on his lateral suppleness. He got long, you lost the longitudinal suppleness, which is a pretty normal thing to happen, right? So kind of come into the middle of the ring somewhere, and I don't have a square set up, but I want you to just kind of give it, pretend. Now slow down his legs. Keep his feet on the ground for longer. And this is where, you're not setting him up for failure, but you're setting him up in the proper balance, even if he feels like he can't, and you're just going to say, figure it out, dude. Good. Active, 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 active. Good. Okay. Right. So let's get into, careful, he's in haunches in. Yeah, good. Now remember too with him, when he gets wiggly, it's because his hind legs are not stepping quick enough. If he has time to wiggle to the left and then wobble back to the right and you just get caught in the crossfire with that, he needs to take quicker, more like up and down rapid steps like a piaffe. That's better. Okay, so let's plan for a canter transition. From a really short, small, active walker. Not going to give him any options. Short, small, active. You're good. You're good here. Good. Okay. So as you're cantering along, we're going to do a couple half halts in the canter, and I want you to make sure that you can sit him down and get his shoulders to jump. So collect the canter here. Smaller, smaller, and live in it, live in it, live in it. Good. And out of the collection, make sure you can jump forward. Good. Really forward. Good. And then collect him again. Small, short, quick, jumping. Good. And out of it. Good. Okay. Now you're going to collect him again, and this time we're going to walk. Take your time. If you don't own the collection, don't walk. Okay, good. All right. So now that's kind of where we want it to be. We want it no less reliable than that, but this is where we're going to throw the wrench back in your situation. Can you feel how much he's throwing his shoulders right? Yes. Yes. It's more that the shoulders are getting thrown outside of the haunches than he is bringing the haunches to the inside. So this is where your yesterday was all about taking his nose to the right and getting him to come up and get big and wide in his left shoulder. And you were really good at getting that. That's right. And bring him around more. Well done. Bring him around more. Good. You were good at getting that. No, I just wanted you to end with the shoulders to the inside of the haunches. Does that make sense? Yeah, just so that you can keep reiterating your point. So yesterday you were able to make this left to right adjustment with him really well, but you lost the collection. You got your collection back. Let's see if we can get the alignment back. So just make sure you're approaching your quarter turns with him in shoulder 4 and you're ending in shoulder 4. Remember, shoulder 4 is that when you think about the track that you're on, that his inside front leg is just to the inside of his inside bent in. More to the right. There. He needs to be in this place. But you see how the canter balance changes? There you go. Just keep working at that. There. I like that. Don't let the canter balance change. If anything, I'd like him to collect a hair more. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into counter canter. Keeping his nose to the right, withers to the left. Keep the canter short and quick. Short and quick. Flex him right to the inside. Yes. Okay. Walk. Find the balance again. Canter left. Just doesn't want to use his belly in this place because it's caught. Canter left if you can. Very good. Okay, and then immediately coming back to counter canter flexing right. And it might take some unlocking. You might not be able to hold the right flexion all the time. And just remember this, if you're touching the right rein, careful your canter's got too big again. If you're touching the right rein and his shoulders haven't jumped over to the left, he's going to feel stuck. There you go. So you need to reiterate to him. That's amazing right there. That's your spot. Reiterate to him that whenever you half halt right, the point is that his body goes left. Good. Yes. If he breaks, it's okay. Then just walk. Pass.
I did the same thing.
Now, you see how much his shoulders went to the right? Take him to the left before you do left lead canter. Good. Just keep reiterating your point. You're asking me to do very hard things under incredibly distracting circumstances. This is good. And just don't give him any time to make other decisions. This is good. When you canter, jump his shoulders to the left. Very good. Good.
She's a fancy little thing.
Now, whenever he breaks because you're in counter canter and you pick up left lead, it would be best if he stays in counter canter. Good job. Now go ahead and go back to counter canter. So if he breaks again because of a sticky half halt malfunction situation, and you have to pick up left lead, stay in counter canter. Now look up, we got some traffic coming in. That's it.
I used to be a fast.
Take his shoulders left. You got it. Give him the left rein. Scratch him on the left with your fingertips. Tell him that the water is warm over there. Now just stay here. Withers left. Withers left. Withers left. Yes, and just get him to experiment with this place in his body. Whenever he goes crooked and he jumps his withers into your firm, half halting right rein, he's gonna feel stuck. That's so